Hi, welcome to another video for the series. So last video we did take a look at determining some security vulnerabilities. Now in this video, we're going to take a look at studying security assessment techniques, but we're going to do in our first exercise study vulnerability scans. So just to touch on it just a second before we get into our exercise. So it's common, right, for every OS or application. I mentioned this before in my videos, have vulnerabilities, right? They're just as perfect as the folks that crafted them. So there's vulnerabilities that have to be identified, right, and closed. So the the scans, they just list out what was identified, right? So to keep a watch of the health of the network, every organization or enterprise is going to run vulnerability scans properly. Regularly and properly, hopefully. And depending on various factors, the intervals between the scans can differ for each organization, right? So, you could do a bit of configuration reviewing and also have your version of taking a look at the CVSS score as far as the vulnerability that you identified through a scan internally, right? You can take a look at the application, the web application, and network as far as doing those scans and worry about false positives. I don't think I touched on those either. So vulnerability scan can result sometimes. I don't think that often, but I believe with more experience, you may come to recognize how to investigate what's potentially a false positive. But it just refers to a vulnerability that might be listed as one, even though it technically doesn't exist. Like, for example, a scan may list a vulnerability in MySQL, but while in reality, the listed vulnerability doesn't exist or it's not considered really a vulnerability, right? False negative works the same way. You could talk about credentials versus non-credential scans. Credentials, you just need to have an administrator's rights, typically. Non-credential, obviously, you don't. Intrusive, obviously, it's a bit more thorough than versus a non-intrusive scan, right? So what we're going to get into now, so I can stop talking as much, we're going to take a look at some log reviews, right? Because these applications and the OS, they generate various types of events, right? So these events are typically captured in logs maintained by a tool, right? Typically, or a service within the OS. So they can help actually determine the cause of an origin of an event, right? Because that's part of the IR response, right? Where did it come from? How long? Again, where, why, how, who, and all of that jazz. So what we're going to use is Event Viewer, which is a Windows tool that displays information about various events happening in the network, right, or your device. Your device. So the tool can actually keep track of the event flow or troubleshooting any issues with the OS or the installed applications. So actually, let me move this out of the way. Sorry about that. So there's different types of event logs, right? So we have window logs, and then we have application security and system logs, right? And the application and the system logs are usually available to all users. However, security logs naturally still, rightfully so, are only available to admins, right? So now that we're in the event viewer, we're going to take a look at a few things, right? So let's see the application, and I'll give a breakdown to what these also all entail. So it just contains the events generated by applications, of course, and security just contains the security-related events generated by the OS. And you have the setup, which contains the application installed related events. And the system contains the events generated by the OS, right? So I'm going to take a look at the application log, right? And let's take a look at the information there. Now, there are different events, right, that are relevant to the application on the system, right? The events could be labeled as all different types of things, right? So it could be information, could be probably because it's a lab, it might not show much, but warning, right? As far as being generated, right? But just to give an idea of what it looks like. So I'm gonna also take a look at the system logs as well. So there's typically a couple of different types, information like these, right? Then you have the error, like we saw in the last one, and then it looks like we just passed a few, and also warning, right? As far as the events that took place, warning, error, information, all of these are right here, but that's fine. So now we're going to do, we're going to also note that window, let's see, window logs, this list, what do you call it? Static logs, right there, which are all common on Windows systems. However, a server for specific services such as a DNS server they can have DNS logs as well. Such logs are actually listed under the application and services logs node. So, so let's see. If I'm missing it, it's going to open it up. And these logs are actually specific to certain applications, as you can see, right? Internet Explorer, Microsoft Office Word, Open Secure Shell, went to PowerShell here. But I just want to take a look at all of those tools that you can utilize, right, to have better security assessment. And now we can actually swivel over to Kali Linux to use Nikto for web application vulnerability scanning. So it's a scanner that's part of Kali Linux, right? And it's widely used by pen testers typically and hackers to find vulnerabilities. I don't see myself doing anything like this long term, at least. I mean, I wouldn't turn down an opportunity to look into something like this. But as far as a passion of mine, it'll definitely be more so threat intelligence analysis and threat hunting and modeling, things of that nature, right? The best, um, I would say, support folks like pen testers as far as different ways of what to plan for as far as they're doing any penetration tests, I guess. But nonetheless, we're going to take a look at Nikto to find vulnerabilities in web servers. So it does a few things. It scans the existence of more than one index file and a few other things as well. So let's go ahead and get started since I have the emulator already up here. That actually, I don't want uppercase. Oh, good. Command not found. Let's see. Sudo. Hmm. Let's see. Usually it's an issue with something that I did. See here. And I figured it wouldn't work. All right, let's figure it out. Let's fix this. All right, so we got that taken care of. So now with the command, it was able to start a few things. More than likely, it's going to ask me for a password um, for for us to begin the scanning process. So it actually looks like the scanning process already started. And I'm assuming because I'm already in the administrator profile as far as being logged into this particular Kali Linux server, it just went ahead and started the scan. So it's going to list a couple of details, right? So the scan target. So it'll have um, here the target IP, the hosting, the port, the start time, and depending on the number of vulnerabilities, this actually may run for a few moments. And the output is going to give us a detailed list of those vulnerabilities, of course. And what we're going to do after the scan is finished. Oh, there it is. Speak of the devil, right? We're just going to specify the port number on which the website or the web app should be scanned. So let's try, yeah, let's do that again. And then lowercase p to be again specific. For port 80. All right, perfect. And then this one is going to take a time. So the process and the output are similar to our previous command. even though this one is a bit more, have a more of a focused scope, right? So waiting for it to finish here. Just in case it takes a bit longer than anticipated, I'm just going to put us on the other side of the scan, at least video wise. I'm going to have to sit here and wait. Hopefully it doesn't take too much longer so we can move forward. All right, perfect. So the scan has finished up and we have the information that we needed. All right, so let's head back to another, actually clear this out. I don't want this here to be all convoluted and everything. So let's run back this way and instead, let's do, there it is. I thought it was HTML, text markup. All right, perfect. So now it's doing another vulnerability scan process, and then we're going to continue on with the next command. I'll put up on the other side of that one as well. All right, so that process has completed, so we can move forward with another command here. So it'll let me, come on. Hypertext. Perfect. So now we're running Firefox in our regular session. Oh, well, not supported. What's going on? Okay. All right, let's fix this. Let's see. All right, we're going to fix this.
We were able to get it back up and running here. What's going to happen is I'm going to run with this command, and then it's going to be a new Firefox browser window that opens for us, and then it should list the vulnerabilities on that HTML web page. Let's see. Having trouble finding this. I'm not sure if there's an issue with this particular lab, but there would be, again, it would be a list of vulnerabilities that were found through the scans that I did on the NHTML web page via Firefox. But we're still going to move forward with performing vulnerability scan using OpenVAS, right? Because we understand that Kali Linux, right, it provides a tool name called OpenVAS for vulnerability scanning of the network, right? So I'm actually going to close this out. I'm actually pretty disappointed that that it didn't run the way it should have run, or at least loaded properly. But OpenVAS is a framework that consists of multiple services and tools, right? So it requires Python binaries to work, which is fine. We know a little bit of Python, and that's going to be in one of my future videos, me going over Python coding. But you won't find vulnerabilities every time, unfortunately. You run a scanner. But if a system is secure enough, then we may not even find a single vulnerability, which is a good thing and a bad thing, because at least me as a cyber professional to be in the back of my mind saying, hey, you know, I didn't find anything, but what's out there? What in the, let me find any 0 days, or, you know, whatever the case may be, at least for me personally. But let me reopen the terminal. So let's see, what did I use before? So actually we're not using any of these. So user, actually USR. Like the lab doesn't want me to be great. This want the user in Ben. We want to type super slow. Right. Okay, feed updates. All right, now this one is giving me what I want. All right, we're going to fix this one too. Got it back up and running here. So let's see. Just gotta enter the password.
Okay. So, uppercase. There it is. Not sure what's going on here. But nonetheless, so what we were able to do now is just updating the Greenbone database. That's process is going to take quite a while. So I'll put us on the other side of that this process once it's updated. All right. So we finally started the Greenbone OpenVAS service. And once the command was done, the Firefox browser opened automatically. So I'm just going to click advance here so we can go ahead to the website. All right, so, and then that's right. All right, perfect. So now the dashboard is here for OpenVAS. We're just gonna go to task under the scan menu. Yeah, let's go to task wizard here. Okay. All right, so let's see. Okay, usually that'll go on home. All right, so now we're going to start our scan. Scan may take a while. The last update just took quite a while. So this isn't a huge surprise, but it's definitely daunting. So to scan, it may take up about 10 minutes, maybe 15. Hopefully it'll stay within that range. All right, it's requested. I'm refreshing the page just so I can at least see 1% and I feel a little bit better. But nonetheless, I'll put the video on the other side of the scan so we can take a look at the report just a moment. All right, so we're finally finished with the scan. So let's actually take a look at the report. All right, and let's see. Looks pretty bad, to be honest. I mean, at 10.0, that's pretty crazy. Let's see what's going on in here. 3 of 34. So we have an issue with the end of life scan engine environment, which is making it the severity, which is heavily weighting the severity of it, right? 97% as far as the QOD. That's quite crazy. So let's see. Take a look. I'm just want to click on it here. So I think the Wi-Fi is doing some stuff. Right, so the summary gives us here text and reports for an outdated end-of-life scan engine for Greenbone, and take a note, security vulnerability, severity is reported to make you aware. Then we just missed the functionality, bug fixes, which I can tell. Then a version detection method, right? The solution type, update to the latest available safe release. So pretty much just update to the most recent update release to pretty much patch those vulnerabilities. So I'm actually going to take a look at the ports too. All right, the ports aren't too bad. 135, TP 289, not too bad. Let's take a look at the operating system too. So just Windows, all right. Let's actually click on it here. Let's see. Wow, yeah, 10 out of 10. Pretty much that is pretty much insane. But now that we that as far as that scan, we pretty much came got what we were looking for, at least coming for rather. So as we noticed, the scanner's hot like operating system is identified as Microsoft Windows, right? So several other fields can be explored as far as the information gathered from the host, right? So now what we're going to do is use Lynis for system vulnerability scanning also. And it's a built-in multi-purpose tool into Kali Linux designed to do some security audit, compliance testing, penetration testing, vulnerability detection, system hardening. And it can do a few things. Several types of system auditing, right? Like system binaries, bootloaders, startup services, run level, things of that nature. But we're going to actually clear this out of here. And then, let's see, update. Of course, we need a password. All right, perfect. Shouldn't take too long. Looks like it's almost finished. Okay. All right, finally. All right, so perfect. So by default, Linux is going to perform a local system scan, right? And we have the option usually to run a normal audit scan or an entire system. So what we're going to do once this finishes up here, we're going to run a system scan. Excuse me. Okay. All right, perfect. So now we're going to run the normal audit scan. So right, just checking. All right, so now the auditing process is starting here, and it already has detected the OS, like the OS's system version, its host name, and so on. And it'll probably take a few minutes to complete. But during this process, I'll scroll up a bit once it's finished, but you'll notice that the results are categorized according to file system, services, ports, etc. And then, so I'll make sure I'll put the video on the other side of the scan so you don't have to wait for the entire thing to be over. All right, so now we can take a look at the results. So we can see a couple of vulnerabilities, right? And it also provides suggestions, as you can see here, to close the vulnerability. So disabled, not found, found, some cryptography. It does a pretty thorough scan of everything, right? So it's not too bad. All right, so we can actually now go into our next task. And our next project is going to be, our next exercise rather, going to be exploring system logs or SIP logs and security and information and event management, or SIEM, right? Some tools with SIEM. But each application in OS generates various types of events, right? So these events are usually captured in logs maintained by a tool like Splunk or OpenVAS or whatever other, or Alien Vault rather, as part of the SIEM tools. And these logs can be useful during forensic investigation. So actually implementing SIEM actually provides a continuous view of these events. So usually a SIEM is the best choice if you want to filter out unnecessary event information and collate only the required security specific events, right? So with the SIEM product, you can actually review reports, the different formats and parameters monitored as far as those reports to make the implementation of the SIEM more effective. You just got to make sure you review those reports regularly. Also do some packet capturing, which we've done in other videos, which is the process of intercepting one or more data packets that move through a network. and also data inputs, which go into a SIEM from a variety of different systems and devices, right? And some SIEM actually also provide the capability to import existing logs you already have on your network or device for analysis, right? So logs can actually be imported from any device that you've added in the SIEM. So um, like from an event log analyzer that you may be using, or user behavior analysis, right? Sentiment analysis, security monitoring, log aggregation, log collectors, SOAR, security orchestration, automation and response. And what we're going to do actually is implement SIEM, right? There are SIEM products available in the market, of course. I mentioned some of them are commercial, some of them are free, open source, right? So each product has its unique capabilities for the most part. They can run the same, but there are certain like GUIs or it's like some nuance as far as what the capabilities are depending on your enterprise and what you need, right? And some features that mostly overlap, with other products, right? So the Manage Engine Event Analyzer is actually one of the SIEM products with several features that can be used for event log management, right? Not going to get too much into what those features are, but you get the gist. So I'm actually going to open up the Windows. Let's see here. So open up here. All right. Let's turn all of these off. All right. Perfect. Let me close this out. So actually, I turned these off of the incorrect server. So turn it off on a different server. Let's do this here. All right, so that's good. Let's actually turn it back on here. All right, but nonetheless, the next part of our exercise is actually done on the server anyway. So let me actually close this out. All right, so let's start here. All right, so this is the Manage Engine Event Analyzer that I just mentioned. Right, so it's gonna indicate in just a moment that it's setting up, and this actually might take a while. So let's make like magic and give it just a few seconds. All right, so it's finally loaded for us, so I'm going to go ahead and log in. All right. You can see the dashboard already loaded up here, at least this portion of it. All right, perfect. So let's actually take a look at the event log while we're here. My file looks pretty good. I'm not sure. All right, perfect. So let's actually take a look here first. All right, so we're just gonna take a look at the configuration settings and manage some devices here. Now we see there's already 2 devices, so I'm just gonna add another. Yeah, configure manually, of course. And the device we want, we're gonna add Win10. Mm-hmm. Verify. Access denied. Right? Here we go. What's that? That's what it was. It was a fixed purpose. It's just not possible. It's not possible. I don't. Maybe it's usually something small whenever I run into an issue that's not the Wi-Fi going crazy. There it is. Like I said, small stuff, right? Right, perfect. So never, do not save the password. So now I'm just gonna, let's see, again, why does it look like this? All right. Actually, no, this is the wrong. There it is. Perfect. So now it's scanning. Again, it's going to take a couple seconds to complete, not too long, just a few seconds. All right, so the scan has officially completed, right? So let's actually head back to the home dashboard. Then, all right, perfect. So let's take a look at this month here. All right, perfect. So on the dashboard, we can actually notice that now when 10 appears, right, in our top devices or our top 5 devices section. And let's see, and all 3 devices are active. And it gives us a breakdown of everything, the log on, account management, object access. Let's take a look at the report. So typically by default, the Windows event and / all event tab is displayed normally. And there are several types of event reports available for review. But in this one, we're going to take a look at the threat section. Right? Let's get that here. Let's just, I guess, click on anything. I thought it was going to be a main menu here. No data. No data. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, nothing. Yeah, nothing. So it's how, let's see, should give me something. Let's see. Actually, yeah, let's do the, let's do actually, let's see. Two, that's the from, then two. You know, I'll just do it for my, for some reason it's not letting me scroll down. Um, yep. Still nothing found. Well, if there was, right, there would be other reports that would populate here as far as no report data found. The reports would normally populate, so you could take a look at the breakdown of those reports, right? It usually gives like a graphical representation, like a bar graph, right, of the event, of the threat detection, right, and the event logging service data and everything that goes along with that. But that was uneventful. I was really looking forward to seeing it, but for some reason it's not populating for me, so I'll head back to the home tab. Let's look at the security overview. Actually, there is, okay, it's not giving me, there it is. Now let's take a look at the security overview. All right, so now we can see the, well, at least we should be able to see, actually, I have to do it again. Nope, it's still here. All right, the security event incidents that have occurred on the network that can be investigated, of course, looks like we don't really have any. But I guess that's good. But I love to see different types of situations to explore, so we are better prepared for real world scenarios, right? But nonetheless, we've come to the end of the video, unfortunately, for security assessment techniques. Next video, we're going to get into penetration testing techniques. Should be pretty fun as far as those type of things. I don't mind doing them. It's not necessarily a passion of mine, but I don't mind doing it at all because cybersecurity is all encompassing, right? With different parts of it, and that's clearly a part of it. It's probably medium on a totem pole for me. It's not the lowest, but medium. I've already said exactly where my passion lies, but nonetheless, just for a brief recap, we went over some threat hunting, some study, vulnerability scans, as well as deploying syslog, security information, and event management. And so it's the end of the video, and I'll see you on the next one.